The manager laughed and abused the cleaning lady every day, until a customer called the manager to the cash register, leaving her breathless as she realized that, in a modest neighborhood, a young cleaning lady struggles to support her sick mother. In the luxurious world of a jewelry store, Lucia endures daily humiliations, until an unexpected encounter with a mysterious customer changes everything. A journey of overcoming and discovery begins, where dreams and reality intertwine. In a modest neighborhood of a large U.S. city lived a young woman named Lucia. A black woman with resilience and an easy smile, Lucia was the primary breadwinner for her mother, Donna Clara, whose poor health left her fully dependent on her daughter's care and affection. Every morning before the sun rose, Lucia prepared herself for another day of work at the jewelry store where she worked as a cleaner. Life had never been easy for Lucia, but she faced her difficulties with admirable determination. Donna Clara had always taught her the importance of honest work and respect for others. It was with these values that Lucia, still a teenager, began working at Brilliant Diamond, one of the city's most prestigious jewelry stores. Filled with luxurious items, the store was a symbol of everything Lucia knew she could never attain, but she appreciated the beauty of the jewelry and the sophisticated environment. The store's management was in the hands of Sabrina, a woman with an impeccable appearance but a cold heart. With a charming smile that concealed a tyrannical nature, Sabrina often humiliated Lucia, treating her with disdain and ridiculing her in front of other saleswomen and customers. To Sabrina, Lucia was nothing more than a worthless cleaner, someone who could never aspire to own the beautiful jewelry she cleaned every day. The other saleswomen, influenced by Sabrina's behavior, also scorned Lucia. Hurtful comments and nasty jokes were common, creating a toxic and oppressive work environment. However, Lucia kept her head held high. She knew she needed the job to care for her mother, so she silently endured all the insults, focusing on doing her job diligently. One morning, as Lucia was cleaning the marble floor of the store, the door opened earlier than usual. A man entered, and his presence immediately caught Lucia's attention. He was tall, elegant, with dark skin that gleamed under the display lights. He wore an immaculate suit and had an air of confidence that instantly impressed her. "Good morning," he said in a deep, kind voice. "Am I the first customer of the day?" Surprised by the man's early arrival, Lucia responded with a shy smile. "Good morning, sir. The salespeople haven't arrived yet, but I can help as much as possible." The man looked around, admiring the displayed jewelry, before fixing his gaze on Lucia again. "Actually, I'm here to make a significant purchase. Could you show me some pieces?" Lucia hesitated for a moment. It wasn't her role to assist customers, but the kindness in the man's eyes made her feel at ease. "Of course, sir. I'll do my best to assist you." As Lucia showed the man the store's most precious items, she had no idea that this encounter would change her life forever. Little did she know, she was about to discover that fate had much bigger plans for her beyond the silent halls and cruel jokes of the jewelry store. As Lucia showed the man various pieces of jewelry, she felt a mix of nervousness and pride. It was rare for someone to notice her efforts and treat her with such respect. She knew Sabrina would disapprove of her serving a customer, but since the saleswomen hadn't arrived yet, she didn't want to leave the man waiting. "You seem to know a lot about jewelry," the man remarked, smiling at her appreciatively. Lucia blushed slightly. "I listen to the saleswomen and learn what I can. It's a pleasure to work here, even though my role is just cleaning." The man paused, as if considering something important. "Your name is Lucia, right? I see you're very dedicated to your work. It's rare to find someone with so much commitment and knowledge." Before Lucia could respond, the door opened again, and Sabrina walked in, wearing her usual look of disdain. When she saw Lucia assisting a customer, her expression turned even more sour. "What's going on here?" Sabrina asked, her voice dripping with contempt. "Why is a simple cleaning lady helping a customer?" Lucia opened her mouth to respond, but the man interrupted her. "I asked her to help me. I have an important purchase to make, and Lucia has been extremely helpful." Sabrina forced a smile, clearly irritated. "Of course, sir, but let one of our saleswomen assist you." Lucia, get back to your work. The man stared at Sabrina, his face hardening. I prefer to continue being assisted by Lucia. I'm very satisfied with her service. Sabrina swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. She couldn't contradict a customer, especially one who seemed to be about to make a large purchase. With a furious glance at Lucia, she stepped aside, muttering something under her breath. After selecting a few pieces, the man approached the register to finalize the purchase. Lucia, please call the manager. I need to speak with her before completing the transaction. Lucia nodded and went to get Sabrina, her heart racing. She didn't know what the man was planning, but something in his demeanor made her believe he had an important reason. When Lucia returned with Sabrina, she felt the tension in the air. Sabrina approached the register, trying to maintain her composure. Yes, sir. How can I assist you? The man looked directly into Sabrina's eyes, his voice firm and controlled. My name is Jonathan, the adopted son of the owner of this jewelry store. I'm here to evaluate the performance of the staff and management, and I must say, I'm deeply disappointed by what I've seen today. Sabrina turned pale, her confidence crumbling. I didn't know. Mr. Jonathan, please, let me explain. Jonathan raised his hand, silencing her. There's no need for explanations. The way you've treated Lucia is unacceptable. This store represents our family, and we expect everyone to be treated with respect and dignity. You're fired, effective immediately. Lucia could barely believe what she was hearing. Sabrina, the woman who had humiliated her for so long, was being fired right in front of her. Jonathan then turned to Lucia, his expression softening. Lucia, you demonstrated incredible competence and dedication today. From now on, you are the new manager of this store. I'm confident you'll do an exemplary job. Jonathan's words echoed in Lucia's mind. A new beginning was unfolding before her, and she could hardly wait to embrace this opportunity with all her heart. News of Sabrina's dismissal and Lucia's promotion spread quickly through the jewelry store. The saleswomen, who had once mocked Lucia, now looked at her with a mix of disbelief and forced respect. Lucia, however, was determined to live up to the trust Jonathan had placed in her. The first few days as manager were challenging. There was much to learn about running the store, from inventory control to staff management. Lucia dedicated herself fully, studying reports, understanding processes, and ensuring the store maintained its high standards of quality. In her spare moments, she read about sales techniques and customer service, always looking for ways to improve both the work environment and the customer experience. Jonathan visited the store regularly, offering guidance and support. He quickly realized that promoting Lucia had been the right decision. She not only exhibited an impeccable work ethic, but also had a natural talent for dealing with customers and staff. One morning, while reviewing orders for new jewelry, Lucia was approached by one of the saleswomen, Karen, who seemed hesitant. Lucia, can I talk to you for a moment? Lucia looked up, offering an encouraging smile. Of course, Karen. What do you need? Karen lowered her eyes, embarrassed. I just wanted to apologize for the way I treated you before. I was very unfair to you. I think we all were. I didn't know you had so much knowledge about jewelry, and even less about how hard you work. Lucia felt warmth spread through her chest. Those words meant more than Karen could have imagined. Thank you, Karen. I accept your apology. We all make mistakes, and I'm glad we can move forward in a positive way. The atmosphere in the store began to change gradually. Lucia made sure to treat everyone with respect and fairness, creating a cooperative and professional environment. She implemented training for the saleswomen, teaching them more about the products and how to provide excellent customer service. Additionally, she encouraged the team to share ideas and suggestions to improve the service, fostering a collaborative atmosphere. Moreover, Lucia became directly involved with the community surrounding the jewelry store. She organized charity events and donations to local institutions, which boosted the store's reputation and attracted more customers. Sales increased, and positive feedback spread throughout the city. During one of these community initiatives, Jonathan stopped by to check on the store's progress. He found Lucia organizing a toy donation for a local daycare. Watching her from afar, Jonathan couldn't help but admire how much she had achieved in such a short time. "Lucia, can I interrupt?" Jonathan called, walking toward her with a smile. Lucia looked up, surprised and happy to see him. "Of course, Jonathan. How are you?" "I'm well, thank you. And you're doing an incredible job here. The store has never been better, and the community is really noticing the positive impact." Lucia smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "I'm just trying to give back in some way. This community has always been important to me, and it's good to be able to help." Jonathan nodded, his eyes full of admiration. "You're doing more than that. You're transforming this place and the people around you. My mother would be proud of what you've done with the store." Lucia felt her eyes well up with tears, but she quickly blinked them away. "Thank you, Jonathan. That means a lot to me." As the days passed, Lucia continued to grow in her new position. She established new policies of inclusion and respect, ensuring that all employees were treated fairly. Sales continued to rise, and the store became a model of how positive leadership could transform a workplace. For Lucia, each day was a new opportunity to show that she was capable of far more than others had imagined. And with the support of Jonathan and the team, she was determined to take Brilliant Diamond to new heights. The success of the jewelry store under Lucia's leadership caught the attention of the entire city. Word spread about the young manager who had transformed the store, attracting more customers and even drawing the curiosity of local media. Despite all the recognition, Lucia remained humble and dedicated to her work. One busy Saturday, an unexpected event occurred. The store was full of customers, and the saleswomen were busy assisting everyone. Lucia was in the back of the store, checking a new shipment of jewelry, when she heard a commotion outside. Curious, she walked to the door to see what was happening. Outside, an elegant, middle-aged woman with neatly styled gray hair was talking to Jonathan. Lucia recognized the woman from photos she had seen in the office. It was the owner of the jewelry store, Jonathan's mother, Mrs. Beatrice. Jonathan spotted Lucia and waved for her to come over. "Mom, this is Lucia, the new store manager." "Lucia, this is my mother, Mrs. Beatrice." Lucia extended her hand with a smile, feeling a twinge of nervousness. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Beatrice." Beatrice shook Lucia's hand firmly, looking at her with assessing eyes. "Jonathan has told me many good things about you, Lucia. It seems you've done remarkable work here." Lucia smiled modestly. "Thank you, ma'am. I'm just doing my best to honor the trust Jonathan has placed in me." Beatrice smiled, a glint of approval in her eyes. "You've done more than that. You've transformed this store in a way I never expected. Jonathan was right to believe in you." Before Lucia could respond, a customer in the store began to raise her voice, drawing everyone's attention. It was an older woman, looking indignant. "How did a cleaning lady become the manager here? Is this some kind of joke?" The atmosphere became tense. The saleswomen stopped what they were doing, and the customers looked on curiously. Lucia felt heat rise in her face but remained calm. Jonathan stepped forward, but it was Beatrice who responded. "Ma'am, I apologize if there was any misunderstanding. But let me clarify something. Lucia is not just a cleaning lady. She is a dedicated and competent manager who earned her position through merit. And as the owner of this jewelry store, I am extremely satisfied with her work." The customer was left speechless, visibly embarrassed. Beatrice looked around, meeting the eyes of each person present. "In this store, we judge people by their character and competence, not by their skin color or previous position. Lucia has proven to be a valuable leader, and as long as I own this store, she will have my full support." There was a tense silence, broken only by murmurs of approval from a few customers. The critical customer quickly walked away, muttering something to herself. Lucia felt a mixture of relief and pride. Beatrice had publicly defended her, dispelling any doubts about her capability and legitimacy as the store's manager. After the incident, Jonathan and Beatrice spent the day in the store, talking to customers and employees. Beatrice, in particular, made a point of getting to know Lucia better, asking about her life, her mother, and her aspirations. Lucia, in turn, grew increasingly comfortable with the matriarch, who turned out to be a fair and compassionate woman. At the end of the day, Jonathan and Beatrice said their goodbyes, leaving Lucia with a renewed sense of purpose. Beatrice's public endorsement not only solidified her position in the store, but also reinforced her confidence that she was on the right path. And as Lucia locked up the store that night, she knew she had found not just a job, but a place where she could grow and thrive. After the incident with the customer and Beatrice's public defense of her, Lucia became even more respected in the jewelry store. The saleswomen, once reluctant to accept her leadership, began to acknowledge her competence and sought her advice on work matters. The store's transformation under her management continued to impress both customers and co-workers. One afternoon, while Lucia was organizing a team meeting to discuss new sales strategies, she was surprised by an unexpected visit. A group of former colleagues of Sabrina, the former manager, appeared at the store. They were accompanied by Sabrina herself, who looked much more humble than the last time Lucia had seen her. Sabrina approached Lucia, clearly uncomfortable. "Lucia, I wanted to talk to you." Lucia remained calm, though curious about what Sabrina had to say. "Of course, Sabrina. Let's go to the office." In the office, Sabrina looked down at the floor, visibly embarrassed. "I wanted to apologize for everything I did and said to you. I was unfair and cruel, and now, looking back, I see how wrong I was." Lucia looked at Sabrina, considering her words. Sabrina seemed sincere in her regret, and Lucia knew how difficult it was to admit one's mistakes. With a sigh, she spoke softly. "Sabrina, we all make mistakes. What's important is to learn from them and try to do better. I accept your apology." Sabrina lifted her gaze, surprised and relieved. "Thank you, Lucia. That means a lot to me." Lucia smiled. "I wish you all the best moving forward, Sabrina." After the conversation, Lucia returned to the sales floor. The atmosphere was lighter, and the saleswomen, who had heard about the conversation, looked at Lucia with a newfound admiration. Her ability to forgive and move forward only solidified the respect they had for her. Over time, the store continued to thrive. Lucia implemented several new initiatives that attracted a diverse and loyal clientele. She also began receiving invitations to speak at events about leadership and overcoming challenges, where she shared her inspiring story. Jonathan and Beatrice remained involved with the store, always supporting Lucia and the team. During one of these visits, Jonathan suggested that Lucia consider expanding her career. "You have a natural talent for leadership and an incredible vision for business. Have you ever thought about opening your own store?" Lucia was surprised by the suggestion. The idea of having her own store was exciting but also intimidating. "I've never seriously thought about it, but it's an intriguing idea." Beatrice smiled, encouraging her. "We believe in you, Lucia. And if you decide to take that path, we'll be here to support you." Lucia thanked them for their support but decided that, for now, she wanted to continue learning and growing at the jewelry store. She knew there was still much to achieve and learn before taking such a big step. As the months passed, Lucia continued to lead the jewelry store with dedication and passion. The store became a model of excellence in customer service and inclusion, attracting clients from all over the city. With her gentle yet firm approach, Lucia earned the respect of everyone, including the most difficult members of her team. At home, Lucia's life and her mother's also improved significantly. With her increased salary and the security of her new position, Lucia was able to provide better and more comfortable care for Dona Clara. The two of them moved into a modest but cozy house, where Dona Clara could enjoy a more peaceful and secure environment. The relationship between Jonathan and Lucia also blossomed. Initially a friendship based on mutual respect, it began to deepen. They shared ideas and dreams, and Jonathan became an invaluable mentor and friend to Lucia. Over time, Jonathan's feelings for Lucia grew into something more. He admired her strength, intelligence, and compassion, and these qualities made him fall in love with her. At a jewelry store event, Jonathan found an opportunity to express his feelings. He led her to a quieter corner of the store, away from prying eyes. "Lucia, you know how much I admire what you've done here. But beyond all of that, I have feelings for you that go beyond friendship." Lucia was surprised, her heart racing. Jonathan, I don't know what to say. He gently took her hand, looking into her eyes. You don't need to say anything right now. I just wanted you to know how I feel. And no matter your response, my admiration and respect for you will never change. Lucia smiled, touched by Jonathan's sincerity. Thank you for sharing that with me. I need some time to think about it, but know that your friendship means a lot to me. From that moment, a new phase began for Lucia. She saw herself not only as the successful manager of a renowned jewelry store, but also as a woman who had overcome great challenges and was ready to explore new possibilities, both professionally and personally. With Jonathan and Beatrice's continued support, Lucia began to plan the next step in her career. While she was still determined to learn and grow at the jewelry store, the idea of one day opening her own store became increasingly appealing. Meanwhile, the store continued to flourish, and Lucia, now a respected and admired figure in the community, felt deep gratitude for the path she had walked. She had transformed a situation of humiliation and hardship into a story of success and triumph, showing everyone that, with resilience and support, any obstacle could be overcome. Lucia knew that there was still much to live and achieve, but she was ready to face whatever came with the same determination that had brought her this far. And with the future shining brightly before her, she embraced each new challenge and opportunity with a heart full of hope and joy.